Hi guys, quick update here for Bitcoin for YouTube. It's 20th of May, Thursday 25. Hope everyone's doing great. If you want to join the group, everything's here. The full educational masterclass is here. If you purchase this, then it's 1 month's free access to the group, and it's cheaper. Over 3 months you can pay via crypto if you wanted to, and we should be able to get a part two to the MAC course before the end of the year. Now with Bitcoin, we are still bullish here. Bitcoin is consolidating in a bit of a bull flag. We got out of the market mainly into this distribution top here. Should have gone lower. We've already addressed that. Then we jump back in here. This was already the last point at which it could be bearish in an ABC WXY. We got out, got back in just before the Fed, and now we're still long. So effectively we've been long since 83k. To me, a provisional target is 140 if you want to know the exact wave count, because knowing the exact wave count, I see a lot of people are having difficulties deciphering all of this. Just come and join the group and you'll know the exact long-term wave count, where it's going to go and by when. So there's not really much to update or say here. Bitcoin is consolidating. I don't see anything bearish going on. If we address this on the 12-month chart, let's pop it onto the log chart here. So that looks fairly healthy. There's not really much to do there. We are going to take out this high, and we pretty much have taken out the high. So we are due to break all-time new highs here very, very soon. 6-month chart looks very good. 3-month chart is an inside candle followed by a that is going to end up becoming a bullish engulfing candle. That's very bullish, and here it's just consolidation. Okay, so this is not as of yet looking like a parabolic blow off top. We are still looking at higher targets, so I think Bitcoin still has the potential to go much higher here. If you wanted to know more, just come and join the group. Now, we were obviously out of the dollar index. Identifying the weakness is a big part of this. We don't really discuss this on YouTube. This is more the macro side of things that we discuss on the Facebook group. This is a real big part of the whole deal, in effect. Let me pull it up on the futures here, and the dollar is really struggling here. This could easily go to 66. We are going to go onto a central banking digital currency here, so it would make sense that our current regime of the dollar is going to start to have some difficulty. So even if you were to address it here or here, that's probably more accurate. So you'd see the mid channel of this parallel channel here. So the midpoint, in effect, of this shift of this parallel channel is here. That's at 87. We're at 100. So how do you take advantage of that? We've been long the pound since the low. I don't think you'll ever see the pound at these lows ever again. Where's the pound going to go? It's going to take out the Brexit high at 150 before the end of the year. So we've been long pounds in effect since here, and definitely since here. So the biggest advantage is going to be the pound, more so than even the euro, just in case short-term dollar gets a bit of a bid. Euro is effectively anti-dollar, but the pound only makes up about 15% of the dollar index. Euro makes up about 51. So when the dollar is showing short-term strength, it can still be possible for the pound dollar to go higher, but the euro more consolidating. So we've already identified this years ago, and said, look, that is the I don't think you'll ever see that exchange rate ever again. The pound's done going down, and this is a very favorable move up. So if you're in the UK, you're in Europe, obviously everything's priced in USDs on the masterclass. You're actually getting a cheaper sort of exchange rate. This would, however, affect people in Europe and the UK who are investing in US stocks, because you're not making as much on the return, whereas those in the US primarily will benefit even more. So always good to know where the top major 5 currencies are going. And as I always say, it's no longer an international market. Everything's local, regardless of your jurisdiction or your locality. Everyone has access to the major 5 currencies. By that I'm referring to dollar, euro, pound, Swiss, which is the chief, as we call it, the CHF, as well as the yen. Maybe Aussie dollar, maybe Canadian if you wanted to, but really it's the first 5 which I've mentioned. So it's very useful to know which currency you want to be in. Now, whilst we're here, Coinbase, we were obviously buying this at 36, so we made the majority of the money all the way up in this move here, because we buy low and we sell high. We were also in Western Alliance while everyone else was panicking out. So this recent low was an unbelievable low. I mean, to me, it was even more profitable than the COVID low. Unbelievable moves, but no one wants to buy a Western Alliance up here. No one wants to buy a Zion Bank up here. You know, it's pretty much gone to the VPOC, so no one really cares. You know, you can't make money buying at the VPOC. You know, buying here, selling here. That's not really how you make money. You have to buy well outside of value. So we were buying all of these stocks just 1.5 years ago. So we're looking for the next time, you know, to really load up on these stocks. Now we've it's kind of switched to more index investing as opposed to individual stocks, because as we've identified, the biggest concern is this right here. I would say there's a zero possibility, and I've been saying this for a while because I offloaded 10-year long positions here, knowing the writing was on the wall. I mean, what's it done since then? You know, that's not investing. To return that amount of percentage in 1,700 days, that is the fate of the average retail trader. During that time, Nvidia has probably 10x'd, Western Alliance is 10x, and Zion's gone up 5 times. Coinbase has gone up 5 times. So this is the major problem, because never in anyone's investing life has this not made a new high with the S&P. I would say there's a zero possibility Apple makes a new high, and we've identified this, right? We know the exact target on the S&P. We've been long SPXL from the lows whilst everyone else was panicking. So we're up 10x on the leap options. SPY is up 40%. SPXL is double. So it's useful to know towards the end of the market cycle, index funds are going to be your best friend, because the individual stocks, the individual fruits, go toxic and they're sour. So we have a situation now where the value of the fruit basket is going up, i.e. the index, but the individual fruits are stale, are toxic, are rancid, and are basically dying. So eventually we know the index is going to undergo a severe correction. You cannot have the stocks all going down and the index continuing to rally up past a certain amount of time. Currently, that is what is going to happen. As we've said, we've addressed this, right? It might last up to another year before the S&P tops, but eventually, you know, chicken's going to come home to roost here on the S&P. You cannot have, for a continued period of time, all the stocks of the index going down and the index value going up. Is basically index manipulation. Towards the bottom of any move, you always buy stocks. Towards the top of a move, you always buy the index. So anyone who's been holding Apple the last year, that's effectively, you know, unbelievable opportunity cost there. I don't see anything for Apple here. But going back to Coinbase, obviously, we are looking at higher prices for Bitcoin. Coinbase is a marker of where Bitcoin's going to go. However, we have to be more mindful of the fact that it is a Nasdaq listed stock, and whilst we are not, you know, we do still have caution advised on the major FANG stocks. So Coinbase is a tricky one. Now, to bring in the maximum amount of euphoria, I mean, the target, had it gone to 100, would have been 600. But to me, I think that's reasonable. I still think it's risky. Once again, we don't care, because we were buying here, selling into here, right? So we buy low, sell high. We don't buy in the middle of nowhere and then go up. But for anyone holding Coinbase, I would say, given the fact that I'm still bullish on Bitcoin to 140 and higher, you'll have to know the exact count. A lot of people think the next new high is going to be a top, but not yet. You know, the market is going to top, and Bitcoin will go to 2,000 and 3,000. That's a mathematical certainty. You know, once this top is over, you know, there's no doubt Bitcoin will undergo a supercycle correction. And you have to love the irony of this, right? We've been here for 8 years now, nearly, doing YouTube videos. We said 20k, 3k, all of that. Everything is going to get unwound. But where's the top? Well, currently, I'm saying 140k to you guys. We have the exact wave count. Because as it breaks 140, a lot of people are either going to be selling that. Number one, fine, that's probably going to be a mistake. And number two, adding to their positions and getting all euphoric. But Bitcoin will no doubt, I have no doubt, undo all of this once it tops. I'm not saying it's topped. I'm saying it's going to go higher. But once it's topped, it will undergo a severe correction. I think 2,000, 3,000 is very much possible. You have to love the irony of all of this. Everything is going to get unwound eventually on Bitcoin. Obviously not yet. So, following that idea, I would still say it's risky buying Coinbase, but I think it's very reasonable to suggest a new high. Bitcoin tops, Coinbase new high makes a lot of, good sense there. The one, there's many concerns here buying Coinbase. Number one is the 63 price of earnings, and number two, the fact that it's a NASDAQ stock, and that's the concern, right? So we have to be mindful of where we are in the market cycle. But I have no doubt once Bitcoin tops, it will undergo a severe correction back down towards 3,000 and 2,000. Now, S&P, nothing more to really say or do here, because it's going to go to 190. We're going to get out of there because we buy low, sell high. We don't waste our time. Opportunity cost. Now, is there anything here on the S&P? We've got some short-term news about some nonsense to do with the, what's the local news headline to shake out all the retail traders. And we have access to all the information. We know retail traders are shorting into this, and we know hedge funds, unbelievably, continue to add to their short position, right? So this is me showing you that. So if this was their short position over time, unbelievably, hedge funds are continuing to add to the short side. This is why you never give your money to a hedge fund. 2 over 20 doesn't make any sense. It's absolutely incredible. Whereas we have access, in real-time access to smart money, and we know they've been long, right? We have all the data to suggest. That's why we went long here. It wasn't just Elliott wave that we're using or our chart analysis. We have objective fundamental data to suggest actually smart money, i.e. GS and JPM, were buying this dip. And incredibly, based on the recent video that we've done just yesterday, retail traders don't like this move. They hate this move. They're shorting into it, and unbelievably, hedge funds are shorting into this move. Well, the market has to go higher, because we know hedge funds are just retail traders who are wrong in much larger size. So any dip is buyable. Frankly, you'd be lucky to get a dip for here. Once again, we don't care because we buy low, sell high. We've been long in here, and we took part in probably one of the biggest moves in the history of mankind on the ES. That is absolutely incredible. Within 2 hours, that was I think it was a 500-point move on the ES, it's absolutely incredible. And we identified that due to various reasons as that was going to happen. I think it was 2 hours. What was the move? So, once again, that one move, that's it. That's all you need. That's 500-point move in the ES within 2 hours. That's enough for a return. You would have outperformed everyone on the entire planet within 2 hours. Pro rata over the space of the year, you've outperformed every single investor since the beginning of time. Such is the move on the ES. It's a £50 a contract. It's a $25,000 move from one contract. What if you had 5 contracts? Those kind of moves are like once-in-a-lifetime moves. And if you miss those moves, people here just pissing around saying the S&P was going to go lower, they don't have a clue. So that's the thing. Most people don't have a clue. And as long as that is the case, there's always opportunity to be made. But you have to know how to decipher the information, right? There's everything is here if you want to know more. So let's bring it back to Bitcoin. 140. Yeah, we won't give you the exact wave count here because we're not allowed to. Those are for group members. But I would say 140, short-term correction. You'll be lucky for it to go below 100,000. SPX all good. Coinbase, as in Coinbase, the stock itself, I see no reason why it can't go to new highs. Obviously, there is caution advised. Never in anyone's investing life has Apple not made a new high alongside the index. And obviously, we are going to be proved right on that, probably even before the end of Q2. So there's no doubt eventually the index and Bitcoin is effectively the S&P for crypto. I have no doubt will undergo a super cycle correction all the way back down to 2,000. But not yet. Not yet. It's going to happen, and we're very close to it happening. But this is a mathematical certainty. Question is, when's it going to happen? I'll leave that for you guys to ponder over. If you want to know more, come and join the group.